Mike just told me this fascinating analogy about a shovel and how it relates to our fears of AI. So, you know how much I love semantic analogies for training AI models. So, definitely stay for that. I'm gonna give Mike a minute to introduce himself and then I'll introduce myself. Mike, take it.
Okay, thanks, Josie. Thanks for having me on. I'm Mike Pritchett, founder and CEO of BuzzTrail. Look, been an entrepreneur for the last 20 years, a couple of companies, one big exit on my last company, Shootster, which we scaled globally, originally out of Sydney and then headquartered out of Singapore, where I was based for 5 years and now been in the UK for the last 4 years and building out BuzzTrail. So super excited about what's to come and some of the big brands we're starting to work with.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike. Mike exited and now, like, I think third time founder.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it depends if you include all the little ones in between. But yeah, third time proper.
Okay. So, 10x founder. And his last company was a video AI company, and his current company is as well. So, for all of you out there who subscribe because of my video AI product management focus, I do advising and consulting and also marketing for Stanford entrepreneurs. So really happy to have this conversation. Mike, I asked you about, the fear of AI. Either people are totally afraid and they use it secretly, or they say that they use it, but they don't actually use AI at all. So tell me about this shovel analogy.
I can't help but bringing things back to silly analogies that I end up, going too far down the rabbit hole with. But the shovel one's an interesting one. For me, it's just I think about every piece of tech that comes out like a shovel, right? It's just a tool. It's just a tool. Let's all calm down a little bit. The shovel, when it came out, would have been revolutionary and so exciting. And oh my gosh, think what we can do on a building level, et cetera, et cetera. And having used a shovel and grown up with a builder as a dad who put us to work in the backyard constantly, shovels are great. They're really, really useful.
I
Um,
love shovels too. I'm a big fan.
yeah, who doesn't love a shovel when they need it, right? And I think that the interesting thing about AI is it's a shovel that we kind of find ourselves needing every day in multiple different ways. And then all of a sudden, our grandma and mum are also using that shovel that you just think's weird because they're using it in strange ways that you never thought of. And so I get it that it's exciting, but at the same time, I think we can calm down a little bit. It's a tool. It's doing amazing things. I don't personally think it's going to replace humanity. I think all of these things where they say we're all out of a job and global income for all, and that's all we're going to have, really removes the one factor that's so important, which is ambition. When you get a shovel, you don't sit back on your laurels saying, "Well, we don't have to do anything anymore. The hole can be dug in half the time we're going to go to the beach." You think about what's next. Maybe it's a digger, maybe it's a bulldozer. Like, what's coming? What are the bigger things that we can do? And when we can dig bigger holes, we can build bigger buildings, right? There's always a next, and I think there's a lot more that will be done with AI. But because of human ambition, I don't think it's a replacement.
Yeah, I love that analogy because you also extended it to not using the shovel all the time. Like if you use AI in your professional life, you do not have to have it listen in on your personal life. If you use it with, your kids, there is a screen time limit, right? So tell me a little bit about that kind of
Yeah.
shovel and not shovel.
I've got a 12-year-old daughter, and she reminds me constantly to just stop asking ChatGPT.
Oh,
Instead,
really?
actually, she's like, she's the best, but she calls me out on it. And she was like, "Did you actually do that, Dad, or did you just ask ChatGPT?" I was like, "Well, well, okay, fine." She was like, "Stop cheating." And now, to
I'm a
me,
big fan of her now.
yeah. To me, I use it in you should be a big fan of her. She's a legend, but she's always going, no, no, no. We got to bring it back to actually doing it ourselves, right? And she's right. And we've had plenty of things where let's just say we're cooking together for a bit of fun, baking a cake or whatever. And I'm going, I'm limited on time. I've got this much time spare. I'm just going to put it into ChatGPT. What recipe can we use? And she was like, no, let's just experiment and see what happens. And she's so
Right
right.
on.
The outcome didn't actually matter in that instance. It was just about playing with the moment. And I'm sitting there trying to perfect it with ChatGPT, which by the way didn't perfect it at all. And and so I think in those moments when you can remove yourself from AI and go, let's actually think, and quite often in work as well, to be fair. Um, when and maybe I'm being a bit too vulnerable too early in the podcast here, but when I exited my last business and I had to sit there and create a new business, it was a soul searching moment, right? I'd gone from a company that I'd built that was my baby, that was my brand, poured my heart and soul into for 8 years, had 150 employees. I had departments that I could tell the heads of that department to tell other people to do things. Like there was just a myriad of things that could get done by an organization that all of a sudden I had to do with me, myself, and ChatGPT. Right. And it was not only lonely, it was freaking hard. And I was sitting there, at my desk day after day trying to come up with a new idea of something to do. And
Sorry to interrupt. I
chat,
think a lot of the listeners are entrepreneurs. So we've
yeah,
all had that experience where you're like talking to ChatGPT, like, what company should I
yeah,
launch? Right. So
help
definitely listen in.
me. Yeah,
Help
and
me.
it's a soul-searching moment that can be fantastic and can be horrible and helpful and not helpful in every way, right? It's kind of a magnifying glass in those ways. And what it did for me was, look, probably encourage me through certain moments, like, yeah, with your background, you're gonna smash this. I was like, oh, I can do anything. And then I'm just a human, regardless of building companies. I'm just a vulnerable human that's sitting there with my own emotions and own doubts and all those sorts of things. And I'm looking at this screen that's telling me that this is a direction to take. And you go down this rabbit hole, feeling so confident about it. It was only until I walked away and actually thought about it myself. I was like, it's a bloody stupid idea. Like, why would
I
I?
think your daughter would
No,
agree.
I don't agree with myself for the last 8 hours. What did I waste my time on that for? And it's great because it got me to that conclusion quickly enough. But I think without pulling out and having that human element of let's take a walk around the block, let's hopefully get out into the bush or something, and try and walk in a forest and have that moment of like, uh-huh, that was rubbish. Let's come back to what reality is and what I know up here with the gray matter. And you'll find also just driving any level of that ChatGPT conversation, come back and call it and go, right, that was stupid. We're not going that direction. Let's think about this.
For the record, all our podcasts are with real humans. Although we're going to talk about avatars, I am really against those create a podcast on Gemini between two fake people and your corpus of ideas. So I really enjoy and would never replace the long form of going in depth with a really challenging idea. So
Yeah.
thanks, Mike, for telling us about how to like zoom out and pull back and make a
No, I think,
decision as a human.
and I love that you say that about your podcast as well. Like the connection, the nuance, the je ne sais quoi between two human beings is not to be replaced by AI ever. I just don't think it can be.
Yeah, it's the best part. So why would I even like think about replacing
Yeah.
that? Well, I think you're solving a really interesting problem now, and I'm gonna do a really terrible rap. So, call me Jay-Z like the rapper. I rap about AI product management. If you got problems, I feel bad for you, son. But I got 99 problems, and lead qualification ain't one. So,
Nice,
I'm the
nice.
other Jay-Z. And you have been solving this really enviable problem where companies get too many leads. And so, for example, like HeyGen has too many product-led leads. They have too many visits to their website, signups for demos, and that's a problem that all entrepreneurs aspire to have. So tell me a little bit about the problem you're solving and the kind of CROs and CSOs who might be having that problem.
Yeah, it's funny when you start an entrepreneurial journey, you wonder how can you get to the stage you've got too many leads coming in, but it does happen and it can happen quite quickly. But also, as you scale up, any large organization does have that problem, and they put the gates up. They put you know, a million different ways to stop you from coming into their world. And it's not because they're mean or don't want to talk to you. It's just because they can't afford to have humans talking to you. It's a ridiculous waste of money having a good, qualified, well-paid individual inside their walls, spending their time and energy talking to someone that is not the right fit, is never going to buy, is not the right buyer persona or ICP, right? So we go through this motion of setting an ICP, setting a buyer persona, and then working out, who fits within that and who doesn't fit within that. And when you've got thousands, or in some of our clients' cases, tens of thousands of leads coming to their website every month that are actually trying to get in touch with them, not just hitting the website, that's a big problem, because suddenly you've got all of their SDRs wasting most of their time on junk calls, and you have to be polite and sit there for more than 5 seconds. You can't just cut them off. And then it comes to things like very blank, bland emails out to people that just sort of basically say, "Thank you, you're not our ICP, we can't talk." And I've had those emails before. When I am the ICP, I'm ready with budget and I'm ready to go. I'm thinking your system's failing because it hasn't identified that I am actually a real buyer sitting here with money ready to spend. I'm going to your competitor. Because not only am I now put off by the time I've delayed, I'm kind of insulted as well. Right? Like you've sent me this thing basically saying you suck, you don't have the money to pay us, and go away. When I'm saying, well, you don't realize we just raised funding and I do have the money to pay.
Yeah, they're
And
wrong. They're
you're
just wrong.
wrong, like
Yeah.
so BuzzTrail, and it's interesting you mentioned earlier that the human connection is so important. We completely agree. And now some people may say, well, that's ironic when you're creating a business with what we call hyperhumans, which are video avatars. But our point is not to replace the human. Our point is to get the best humans on the buy side connected with the best humans on the sell side as quickly as possible without wasting anyone's time, right? And it's the wasting time factor and therefore wasting money factor that's the biggest part of this challenge that they face.
Yeah, and when I compare software, and I usually compare like six before I pick one,
Mhm.
I really do not want to talk to an SDR. Like I have read the website, I looked at the use cases, I've tested it in Sandbox with like an API key, and mostly I want to talk to someone in tech who can answer a question about, is this on the roadmap? Or, I would do anything. I think there are competitor softwares where you pay like $200 to not talk to an SDR and get like a API key. So there are some people I want to talk to, but the SDR is rarely the person I want to talk to. So I think you're solving for that match of skills as
I,
well.
I absolutely love that. Like, I hear a lot of people say they don't want to talk to an SDR. You're the first person that I've heard that says, I will actively pay $200 to avoid talking to an SDR.
I will. I want that hour back of my life where they're just giving me the boilerplate that's on the website. Like I have a different question that they won't answer until they read the script, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what their
And
manager told them.
they've got their stock standard discovery that they have to do, and that's it. So it's interesting as well. You say that hour of your life. The average hyperhuman demo takes around 8 minutes, where the average demo with a salesperson is between half an hour, depending on what they're doing. So huge time save on your behalf, and you're talking to somebody with the technical knowledge that's greater than even their engineers a lot of the time. So, one particular instance with a large international tech company we built a POC for, they have it's around 4,000 hours of YouTube content. They have about 50,000 pages on their website, right? So you're not going to have all of that information to hand, no matter how smart you are and no matter how long you've been at that company. But within the hyperhuman, you can go and ask it that question. It can access that reference and have it straight back to you. And it's not like just asking a chat GPT or asking a chatbot, because it will actually bring up a slide, bring up the platform, show you visually what is relevant to the question you're asking.
Oh, tell us as much as you can about that. So, for example, when I was assessing AI website builders, the response from Copilot was, here's a list of the top three, but none of them had actually launched yet. This was just
Mhm.
like their marketing promise or, board deck. So that YouTube corpus, like, is it launched? Is it tested? Like, Can I use it at my pricing tier? Tell us an example that would answer some of those questions through the avatar.
Yeah, so all of the questions you've had there around how does it work? Are you eligible? What sort of pricing tier and what comes on that? That's exactly what the hyperhuman is there for, right? So another large international accounting platform that we're working with, their challenge is, you may want to come in and just say, does this particular platform have multi-currency on the basic plan? Simple question. It's actually not so easy to find the resource. And when you then search that, it comes up with a million different things, plus all the competitors yelling at you in all their ads and everything else. And you just want to get to the answer. You go to YouTube, you find some YouTuber that's got all these brilliant pieces of content that the first 5 minutes is, subscribe to this and like this and do this other thing. And you're trying to get to the answer. You finally find that answer, maybe buried somewhere. It could be outdated. Whereas everything that you're asking our hyperhuman is actually updated in a continuous training loop daily from their SDR calls. So it's actually live information. And they can pull up where within the platform that particular instance is shown. So that, okay, on that plan right now, I can use it. You could even, for example, pull up your own platform and say, why can't I find it within here? And it'll say, oh, it looks like you're on the old version or on the wrong plan. So, those sorts of things can be shared with the hyperhuman in the same way you could with the human.
Oh, that's awesome. So maybe you can do a demo or show us visually what that looks like.
Yeah, look, what I'll do, why not? I'll bring up our page just to show very simply on the website version. We'll go to browser tabs. There you go. Let's do
Yeah, take
desktop.
your time. And, while you're doing that, I think the accounting use case you're talking about with different currencies and cross-border money movement, like investors, listen up, funds, listen up, because you have this, right? Like your uh, LPs are in one country in one currency, and your portcos are in another country in different, many, many currencies. So you really need to know if this accounting firm has those currencies, and you don't have to get
Yeah.
it on the roadmap. It's already in like prod, it's tested. Like that's what's gonna make the difference in the buy decision, the stakeholder alignment.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely. Cool. So here we are on our website. You can see here very quickly. I'm going to hit instant demo just for fun because these avatars here are different skins, different people, different conversations that you can have, variations. If I hit this one, it is the world's worst experience showing a Zoom call on a Zoom call with latency issues because we're watching it through a Zoom call. So we're not going to sit here and do a full demo, but people can jump on buzztrail.ai and blatant plug. If you email me at mike@buzztrail.ai and just put Jay-Z podcast in the subject, I'll send you our latest avatar that's not actually available even on our own website yet that we're building for one of our corporate clients. And you can have a look at a lot of those features there that aren't even out right now. So, but here, connect with the AI avatar. The process is as simple as it would be connecting with another human. Now, this is actually my own digital twin, so this is a bit meta, me talking to myself here. But let's see how it goes as it spins up. Sales avatar from BuzzTrail. Let's do a quick demo of how our platform can enhance your sales engagement. What's on your mind today? G'day, Mike. This is very weird to be having a conversation with you, but we're on a podcast and I just wanted to share you. That sounds interesting. What specific aspects? Anyway, we'll dive off there because, as I said, the latency and all of the rest of the things is horrible when you're on a video call. Most importantly, though, I'll dive over here to the back end. So this is me having a conversation with me, and as you can see in the back end, we've got our video here as well as the transcript, which obviously from that transcript, the amount of data that we can take out of that is huge, and we can put that into your dashboard. From there, you see your top calls. And the thing I like personally is that I get to see other people hit our website. Now, when in my last company, when we had about 14,500 visitors to the website every month, we only had about 100 demos. So I was going insane, going, what's happening to the other 13,900 people? If I could have a window on that website where people were willing to open their cameras and tell me all the questions they have, like it's, Absolutely, I would have wanted that all day, every day, not just for my own knowledge, but for the marketing pipeline to know what we should be telling our customers and what sort of content we should be putting out, for the product development to know what sort of challenges people are having and what things they're wanting, all of that. And from a sales perspective, I know what my customer looks like. Like I know that sounds really horrible, but at my last company, I knew exactly when I looked at a person, I knew whether they were likely to be my customer or not, right? If a 19-year-old boy, for example, came onto our website and had a chat, I knew when I was selling enterprise software to marketing and comms managers, that's not what they look like, right? So very easy for me to just go, yeah, next, on to the next conversation, based on
They
simple
might
things like
wish they looked like that, but
they might wish they looked like that. You never know. But that was a real eye opener that I wasn't expecting when building BuzzTrail. I started putting it on the website and then getting those leads in, and I could see straight away, like, hey, this is a really engaged person in an office, and they're from so and so, and they're interested. This is a 19-year-old kid on a couch, just checking out the product. There's a difference. Not saying a 19-year-old kid on a couch may not buy, but if I'm going to invest a bet on one or the other and where I'm going to spend my time, it's clear.
got it. So you're saying this is gathering some of the missing data when qualifying because it's not
It's
just a form, it's like all
yeah,
the
it's
cameras and
so much more rich, to a whole nother level of rich data. It's not just a form, but also when somebody asks a question of a human, as I would on this call, the data is so much more rich than it would be if you sent me an email or a WhatsApp and I wrote back one line answers. And that's what's happening when somebody connects with a hyperhuman.
tell us like go through the flow. So let's say you know there's a big enterprise company. They don't want like the 19-year-old YC founders who want to like copy their software and make a cheaper version or a free version. And they want the like, older, still attractive CMOs, right? Who wish they were younger, but have a budget, have timeline, have the decision-making power, have all the things. So how does it work?
Yeah, so when we're talking about from the hyperhuman setup, it's on the website, it's having a conversation. What it's doing in the background is actually it's been built on a framework of prompts that basically, and there are multiple agents within that conversation, analyzing where the conversation should go. Right. So what it's about is you ask a question, great, it'll give you the answer. Here's a slide, there's a slide, but there's always a nuance sort of, and how about in your situation? Does this make sense? Would you apply that to your entire team or is it just yourself? Subtle question like that. Tick, just them. Okay. Oh, no, our entire team.
Hmm.
Okay, great. How many people in your team? Oh, we have 50 people in our team. Well, tick, 50 people in the team. So all the things that like a BANT, MedPick, Challenger type sales frameworks, this particular one we're building out at the moment is on MedPick. But you're going through a triage process. And the beauty of that is, having run sales teams for decades now, I can tell you SDRs do not do what they've been told to do. And then some people will do it so well that it's to the detriment of the actual connection and human conversation, right? So finding that nuance down the middle where I'm not qualifying you like a form, I'm qualifying you while being helpful and delivering what you ask for, which is this is my question, but I'm also subtly running a MedPick framework so that I know all of the things that my team need to know about this deal.
I see. So if I'm that 19-year-old, I wish I were, but that's a different podcast. So if I were, I would come in and have a conversation with the sales avatar for the accounting company. And then I would ask a question like, can I run it local, like on-prem instead of in the cloud? And then you would disqualify me. So what happens then?
Yeah, so in that case, it just hangs up. No, just kidding. In that case, they will say, that's really interesting. The question about on-prem, is that really important to you? Yes, it is. It's absolutely crucial. Okay, it appears that in this case, this isn't relevant for you as a product. Would you like me to shoot you a follow-up email just so that you have all of this details to hand? And so it's more of a subtle sort of way of going, let's close this conversation off now. There's no point in us continuing a conversation. You're not the right fit. I'm wasting your time. You're wasting my time, but it won't say that. and I'll send you a follow-up email. And so there's different, and obviously we set these individually for each customer, but there are different outcomes that customers might want. In some cases, it's okay, triage, does it come through to our enterprise sales team? Does it go to our mid-level sales team? Do they need to talk to an engineer and actually go directly to a tech person because they're really, engineering mind and they're very smart and they have a good opportunity and we need to answer that question that I can't answer, that does need to go to an engineer. So that's one triage path. The other triage path is an email with a sign up link and a discount code for the first 3 months, for example. Or it could be simply, let's put this person on a nurture track. They're a student at the moment. They could be a fantastic customer in the future. But right now, we just want to give them all the information they want and a nice nurture track so that in 10 years' time, they're a brilliant customer.
I see. So if I am a fund and I've got euros, I've got dollars, I've got what's another currency, popular currency?
GBP, Great British
Okay,
Pound. Yep.
British pounds. It's not part of the euro anymore, Brexit.
Yep. Yep.
So we got pounds, and I want to put pesos like on the roadmap. So would you actually route me to a tech person, or you would route the question and get the answer for me?
That particular question in this particular instance, we'd have the answer to, right? So
Okay.
that's an easy one. And that particular company, the way they're set up, and this is why it's quite nuanced, and it's not just a one size fits all solution. For large enterprise, um, you may think that every large enterprise wants to do demos. They don't. Some of them, their average revenue per account may be $20 a month. They just happen to be huge because they have hundreds of thousands and millions of those accounts, right? So if your average revenue per account is $20 a month, you can't afford the CAC, the customer acquisition cost of putting a human on that call. And interestingly, what we've learned is that companies that have tried to put a human on that call at the start have actually found they fail down the line because people become dependent on a human. So then when they become a client, they're like, where's my human? This is bad. Sales was up here, delivery was down here, bad
Yeah,
review, right? And whereas if you just give them the digital version the whole way, that's what they expect. And now with this particular company, I've been a client 3 times over with this customer that's now a customer of ours. I've been a customer of theirs, never spoken to a human there at all, right? And I've been happy enough because I, I've been technical enough to know how to use their product, but lots of people have been, they've told us, lots of people have been inquiring and then bouncing because they didn't get the answers they want. So their challenge is how do we give our clients the answers they
me
want as
too.
quickly as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're saying that the the people who are buying, they're buying a product that can either be self-serve or full serve? Are these the
Yep.
targets,
Yep.
your company targets? So they have a PLG motion and then they have a sales-led motion.
Yeah, so for us personally, any client that we look at as far as being in our ICP is a client with large inbound volume and a book a demo or something similar button. Book a demo, inquire now, start now type button, where they would have people that bounce because they couldn't get the answers they wanted to.
And there's no self-serve version for those people to try, right?
For us to, you mean for people to jump on and sign up to BuzzTrail or for people on the
For
client?
BuzzTrail to just route them to a non-sales led
Yeah,
product.
there is. So this particular, I keep wanting to mention their name. It's so bad. I can't, I won't. But this company, this accounting company, you can absolutely sign up for free and just start using it, and that's great. What you can't do necessarily is get all of your questions answered. And so, the currency conversation is one that is just a simple example, but that's one that for me personally, I found I wanted to know, and I couldn't find it out until I got in there, used it, I had to upgrade, and then I found the button appeared, right? But it was really annoying to get to that point. And if there were other options out there, I probably would have bounced before I got there. So that's where a hyperhuman in their case can be that's available on the website anytime I like. Hey, where's this button? Why can't I do this thing? Oh, you're in the wrong version. Da 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 da.
Okay, well, we're gonna end soon, so I want to ask
Yeah.
you two more questions. First one is tying it back to revenue. How are the chief sales and chief revenue officers seeing results or any anecdotal stories that you can share from them?
Yeah, so we're early stage, but what we've seen is a very large increase in quality pipeline. We are seeing for some of our clients increase in revenue already, which is great. But most of the clients we're working with are enterprise clients, large enterprise clients that have 3 to 6 month deal pipelines themselves. And we as a company have been, well, we've been in business for the last 12 months, but the last 6 months really starting to build it out. So it's been very, very exciting, the traction that we've got early on and the clients that we're working with. But the results that they're starting to see are more in their SDRs going, hey, the leads that are coming in are higher quality and I'm not wasting time on a bunch of garbage leads.
Awesome. Well, enviable problem that all entrepreneurs want to have is too many leads and how to qualify for the best ones. I think I want to end with the question about gossip. So we talked a lot about, the fear of AI and how showing your quality leads and avatar might be insulting to them. Uh, but I think not, because if I can get my answer and not talk to an SDR, I'd pay you $200. So let's end with the story that you told me about the fear of like telephones in churches.
Yeah, I find this one fascinating. And it does relate also with avatars because some people talk to them. It's kind of like Vegemite. People love it or they hate it, right? I think, as you said, most of the time the response we're seeing these days is I would prefer to talk to an avatar now than have to wait for a human, or even if I can have a human instantly, I don't want to be embarrassed by the fact I don't know the topic well enough, or I don't want to be sold to and pressured in. So that's one thing. The telephone analogy was, back when Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, it sent lots of communities and church groups especially into this sort of disarray that it was going to be the end of the fabric of society as we know it, because now everyone can just sit in their home and they can gossip about another neighbor over there while that neighbor over there doesn't even know that it's happening. And this is going to be horrible. And what if they have, calls gossiping about each other? And so some churches were outright like, we should be banning the telephone, full stop, right? This should never happen. And we're talking about landline telephones in houses here. And clearly over time they went, okay, that's a ridiculous, summary of this. Let's move on. The truth is, it probably did increase gossip, probably. And then it probably also increased a lot of other great things and community and friendship and all sorts of other things as well. It's the same way social media has, the same way the internet in general has, and the same way AI will, right? It changes and it continues to evolve. I think there's always those early adopters that get it and move on, and there's always people that are scared of it at the start. I think AI is exactly the same as all of those things. It's probably going to change the world dramatically, just like the internet did, but probably not as dramatically as some of the extremists are making out, that it's the end of the world and we'll all have to go on a universal income, which I sure as hell hope doesn't happen, because that just seems like the death of ambition and drive and any of the great things that we have as humans. But I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of spam, but I'm also getting like a lot of quality like matches that I didn't have before. So
Mm.
it's about embracing both and understanding like how to uh, improve the quality, which I think you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a lot of great things out there, a lot of great ways to use it, and it's going to be just a matter of time till the cream always rises to the top, and I think that's where we're going to see great products coming out of it, great companies being built, and a lot of the crappy little ones falling away.
Yeah. What a great conversation about, wait, did we talk about spam and shovels and gossip and
Shovels, phones,
telephones?
spam, gossip, we've covered it all.
All right. And if people want to get in touch, what can they do?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn mostly. As boring as that is, I am on Instagram as well, but under Mike Pritchett, ETT at the end on LinkedIn. Please find me and say hello. And then also, as I said before, Mike at buzztrail.ai. If you want to drop me a message with Jay-Z in the subject, I'd love to send you our latest avatars.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna be excited about all the quality matches that you're gonna make.
Very good. Great to chat. Really enjoyed it.